Do you feel like you're not getting the most from life? Do you feel like you're not getting the most from yourself? You see, many people feel as though they're living life far beneath their potential, like they're missing opportunities. Their talents and their abilities and their skills and their knowledge simply isn't being taken advantage of. And so they want to get more from life, and they want to get more from themselves. They want to get more out of themselves. So the question is, how do we do this? My name is Michael Williams, and this is the second lesson of the Joseph Factor. And we've been looking at the life of Joseph and gleaning some of the lessons out of his life. And one of the lessons that we learn is that in order for Joseph to have reached the position that he did, the position of power and authority and service that he reached, he had to give. And, now watch this, he not just had to give, but he had to give first. So we're going to be looking at how you can get more out of life and how you can get more out of yourself by giving first. And I'm going to give you a formula. Basically, it's a 4-step formula that involves giving first in just a few minutes. But some of the things that prevent us from getting more from life are, number one, being distracted by short-term gain. That is, we are looking around for the fastest way and the easiest way to get what we want to get, right? So we're looking around for things that are going to allow us to take a shortcut. You see, some things take a long time to develop. Our skills and our knowledge and our maturity level can often take years, decades to develop. Markets can sometimes take years, and knowledge and skills of how to do business or how to perform well in a certain job can often take years. And including myself, sometimes we don't want to wait. We want to get there as quickly as possible. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be efficient and with wanting to increase or improve that efficiency, that is, wanting to do things faster and easier and better, because if we didn't, we'd still be walking, we'd still be riding on the horse and buggy, we'd still be washing our clothes by hand and doing all those things. So thank God for things that save us time. But there are some things that just take time, and there's nothing we can do about it, right? In fact, it's good that they take time. So often people look for the shortcuts. They look for the quick and easy and fastest ways to get what they want. Another thing that happens is we become impatient. That is, we don't want to wait. So not only do we get distracted by things that say, you can have it now, you can have it in 3 days, you can have it in 6 months or 1 year. We get distracted by those things, but we are simply impatient. We just don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for the time to pass, for the skills to be developed, for the things to be put in place for us to get more from life and get more from ourselves. So one of the obstacles, the barriers, the things that happen is that we get distracted. The second one is that we don't want to wait. And then the third one is that we want to get it easy. Now, I know these are all very, very similar. They're all part of the same sphere, if you will. But they're a little bit different. They're a little distinct, if you will. So we want to get it easy. Now, what this means is maybe we don't mind waiting so much. Maybe we're not even getting that distracted, but we don't want to really work hard for it. We don't want to work hard for it. So we just want to use a little bit of our brain, a little bit of our time, and get it the easy way. But most things that are worthwhile, that are good, takes hard work. But not just working hard, because you can work very hard on something that you don't need to be working hard on at all, right? You can work very hard on something that you don't need to be working hard on at all. So yes, you have to work smart, but you usually also have to work what? Hard as well. And when we look at the life of Joseph, what we discover is that when he was sold into slavery, he had lots of choices. And one of the choices is that he could whine and he could be upset and he could say, this is unfair and why is this happening to me? And I'm only going to do what I have to do just to get by, right? And I'm going to look for the easiest, fastest way to get this job done, whatever it is, okay? And I hope that one day I'll be able to get out of this. He could have said all of that. And maybe he did. Maybe he did for a while. But eventually he got on board. And because of his personality, because of who he was, and because of his relationship with God, he decided to give. He decided to work hard, he decided to give, and he decided to give when? First. He didn't decide to give after he received the rewards. He decided to give before. So this leads me to giving you this 4-step formula. It really is a formula, and these really are kind of steps. And the first step is that if you and I want to get more from ourselves, that is, if we want to use more of our potential, if we want to use more of our skills and our knowledge and our experiences, and we want to take advantage of that, then we have to give first. We have to give first. We can't give later, give last, give second. We have to give first. If you want heat, you have to turn on the thermostat first. If you want heat from a fireplace, you got to put in the wood first. You can't say, give me some heat and then I'll put in the wood, right? If you're driving your car and you say, okay, when I get there, I'll put gas in the car, but there's no gas in the car. You got to put gas in the car first to get where you want to go. So you have to give first before you get where you want to go. So the first part of the formula, and this is going to be very, very simple. The first part of this formula, and this isn't anything that you haven't heard before, right? I mean, we've all heard this before. We all know this, that you have to give in order to receive. But I want to lay this out very clearly for you. If you want to get more from yourself, and you want to get more from life, because you feel like you deserve it, you feel like you want it, so that you can enjoy life, you can live a life that's more fulfilling, but also so that you can reach other people, so that you can help more people, which is fulfilling in and of itself. If you want to do that, then the first thing that you have to do, and I'm talking to myself as well, first thing that we have to do is we have to give first. Give what? Give what? Someone says, well, okay, I understand it, makes sense, I've heard this before, but what is it that I need to give? Well, you have to give of your abilities, like Joseph did, right? So Joseph developed and probably came in with a little bit of the ability to manage. You see, what happened with Joseph is his father loved him and his father trusted him and sent him out to go oversee his brothers who were older than him, and they were always out there screwing around with the flocks and doing all kinds of stuff. And Joseph would go and watch and perhaps manage and come back and report to his father, oh, well, they were out there screwing around. So the father would get mad, so they couldn't stand Joseph. So the last time, before they threw him into the cistern, into the pit, they said, oh, here he comes again. He's probably going to go back and tell Dad that we're screwing around. I can't stand Joseph. So Joseph had an ability to at least tell on other people, but he probably had an ability to be honest, to be trustworthy, and to get the job done, right? So when Joseph was sold into slavery, probably after he got over the shock of it, he rekindled that ability to get the job done and to be trustworthy and to work hard. He did that, and Potiphar, right, his master, his owner, his boss, saw this and realized this. He said, this is a guy to be trusted. This is the guy who gives despite him being in slavery. He's been giving first. He's been giving first. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to give first. The second thing that we have to do, well, let me just back up a little bit. What do we give first? We give first of our abilities, our skills, our knowledge, our talents, our time, sometimes our money, okay? I can just tell you that over the last several years, I've been giving to a particular community, giving money, giving my money, giving my time, investing myself, because it's something that I believe I'm called to do. When you're called to do something, you almost can't do anything except that. And you have to understand that in order to get what you want, you're going to have to give of your time, of your ability, of your talents, of your energy, and often of your money. And you're going to have to give that first. Now, I'm not saying go out and continue to do this and go broke and just give, right? Without building in a way for you to take care of yourself and to receive, right? You have to be wise, but we have to give, and those are the things that we have to give. When? Second? Do we give second? Do we give last? Do we give third? Do we give after somebody else gives? We give first. The second part of the formula is that we have to give more, right? We can't just give first, give it a little bit and say, okay, I've given and now it's time for me to receive. Give me my reward, give me my stuff, right? Give me my money. No, we have to give first, and then we usually have to give more. Give more, Michael. Yes, we have to give more. What I've discovered, and what many people have discovered as well, is in order to get the most from life and get the most from yourself, okay, just as Joseph did, 13 years later, he was second only to Pharaoh, right? Second only to Pharaoh, because he gave first, and then he gave more, and he just continued to give. He gave in Pharaoh's house, then he was falsely accused, then he was put in prison. Now, he could have just gotten really frustrated and said, Lord, I did what you wanted me to do. I worked really hard. I rose up to be second in command in Potiphar's house. And now all of a sudden, I'm in jail. But he kept giving in jail, so he gave more. Again, I can tell you from my own experience that there are times when I've reached a slightly higher level than I was several years ago, but nowhere near where I'd like to be, nowhere near where I'd like to be. And I have to redouble my efforts and say, this is what I'm called to do. I'm called to do this, and so I have to now dig in and figure out, how can I give to this industry even more than I gave before? One of my clients, very wise man from India, was in a workshop, a seminar, and there's also a book, and I forget the name of the gentleman who wrote the book, but the book is titled something like, you can't get someplace else by doing the same thing that you're doing now. If you can't get there, you can't get there from here by doing the same thing that you're doing now. So in other words, what the book was saying is that if you want to get someplace else, you cannot continue to do what you're doing now. You're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to do something different. And I'll make sure that I get you the name of that book in the next lesson. But it really opened my mind, because what it said is that, all right, what got me here, and I think this was the name, what got me here is not going to get me there. Whatever got me here, whatever it was that I was giving, whatever it was that I was doing, was enough to get me to where I am now. But if I keep doing that, just the same thing at the same level, it's probably not going to get me to where I want to be. I'm probably going to have to give more. And I might even have to give something a little different, a little better, or a lot better. Does that make sense? You got to give first. And we mentioned what you have to give. And you almost always, you probably always have to give more. You have to give more. That's the second step in the formula. The third step is you have to wait. We have to wait, right? We just have to wait. And this is the part, remember we talked about being impatient? This is the part where many people fall off. Many people get distracted, they go off, they double back, and they try something else. And we see this so many times when times get rough, when we're not making as much money as we'd like to make, or we're not making any money. This is specifically also for people that are starting their own businesses. You might go through a period of time where you're not only not making money, but you're losing money. But if you know you're called to do it, then you have to figure out how to turn that around, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. So what happens is we get distracted by, well, I can also do this and I can make money faster. Well, I can try this and I can try that and I can do this, and I probably will make money faster. I probably will make more money if I do this. So let me do this and have this support what I'm called to do. Not going to work. Not going to work. For some people it may work. For most it's not going to work. As I'm just telling you, it's not going to work. If you go out and you say, okay, I'm going to go do this and make a lot of money, or make some money at least, to support what I really want to do, you know what I'm about to say, right? It's not going to work. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how to build a system that's consistent, that's built for the long term, that will help you do what you're called to do, and if you like, make a living, right? You got to figure out how to do this. Not a matter of if you can do it, it's simply how to do it. So we have to wait. We have to wait, and we often don't want to wait. We just want to go ahead and get there as quickly as possible. So waiting can be one of the most difficult things for many people. And what I try to do is to shore myself up with some great resources that help me get things into perspective, that help me understand I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I'm called to do. It may not seem like it all the time. It may not look like it. I may not be receiving the rewards that I'd like to receive, but I'm on the right track. And eventually, if I continue to do this and I figure out ways to be more effective and more efficient, to give more, to give better, eventually I will begin to receive the rewards that I'm looking for. The tangible and the intangible rewards. We're not just talking about money and houses and cars and stuff. We're also talking about the intangible, internal, intrinsic rewards, okay? So we have to wait. The fourth part of the formula, the fourth step, is get ready to receive. We have to get ready to receive. And this part almost takes care of itself. And here's why. The process that we go through in figuring out that we have to give first, what we need to give first, and then learning to give that, whatever it is, talents, gifts, money, whatever, and then figuring out that we have to give more. We have to give more. That develops character, that develops wisdom and knowledge. We have to figure out, how can I use technology to give more? How can I use teams to give more? How can I work with other people in a better way? How can I network? How can I build a website? Whatever it is, do video, do audio. How can I develop my speaking skills? Whatever it is that we need to develop, you have to figure that out along the way. There are many great resources and books and coaches and so forth. So we figured that out. And it's during that process that you are getting ready to receive, that you're getting ready to receive. It's also during the waiting process that you and I get prepared to receive the rewards. So if we look at Joseph, he was in jail and he was in slavery for at least 13 years. I believe that when he went into slavery, he was about 17 years old. When he came out, he was about 30 years old or so. When he was appointed as governor, just beneath Pharaoh, and had everything he wanted, both tangible and intangible. And in order to do that, in order to be put in that position, in order for Pharaoh to say, you know, there's no other wiser person who can manage this except for you, right? In order for him to be in that place, he had to do what? He had to do the other three things. He had to give first, he had to give more, keep on giving, he had to wait, he had to be patient, he had to wait. And while he was waiting, he didn't just sit back and say, I'm just waiting, right? He was giving while he was waiting, right? He was giving while he was waiting. And this prepared him to receive. So the fourth step is get ready to receive, because once you receive, all the rewards that's going to come about as a result of your giving, you're going to need to know how to handle it. You're going to need to know how to manage your finances better so that you don't waste them. You need to know how to manage your relationships. Many people's relationships fall apart because they're spending too much time in their work. The relationships fall apart because they end up cheating on their spouse, right? Because of all the attention or whatever. Many people's health falls apart because they forget about that. So we have all these things that happen that we need to be prepared for. We have to get ready to receive whatever it is that's coming our way, right? Whatever it is that we've been sowing, we got to get ready to receive. So just in quick summary, in order for you to get more from yourself, to get more from life, why? So that ultimately you can give more, right? So that you can be put in a greater position of authority, a greater position of power, not just power like I'm powerful and I'm over you, power to make decisions, to make an impact on people's lives, a greater position to make decisions, to make changes, greater position to serve people at a deeper and broader level. In order to be repositioned so that you can do that, what has to happen is often we have to go through trials and tribulations. We have to wait sometimes years, sometimes decades. We have to do that in order to receive. Give first, give more, wait. We have to wait, and while we're waiting, we do what? We give, and then we get ready to receive, okay? Get ready to receive. I hope this message has been helpful for you, has been as helpful for you and to you as it is and will continue to be for me. These are things that I meditate on and think about myself, because I'm going through probably the same thing that many of you are going through, just in different areas at different levels. So I'd love to hear from you. Please go ahead and leave your comments. Follow this series. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll probably post this series someplace else, but go ahead and check me out. Follow the series, like this, share it, and look forward to seeing you in the next lesson of the Joseph Factor.